So I just wanted to hop on here quick and share with you the yoga props that you might like to have on hand for our challenge. Now, caveat, I don't want you going and investing any money in anything until you are through the challenge and you know yoga is something that you want to spend some time learning more about. I don't want you spending money on something that you're not going to use. Now, that said, a lot of people have these things sitting around their house anyway. We've invested at some point along the way with the best of intentions and haven't used them. Or there are also ways that you can substitute for the yoga props that you could buy with something that you have at home. So let's quickly go through the ones that I recommend. Now, number one, I recommend a yoga mat. So yoga mat is probably the most important safety tool that you can have because they're called sticky mats, and it's not because it's literally sticky like flypaper, but when you take your feet apart, it holds them so they don't slide out, which then causes us to grip, which is completely the opposite of what we're trying to do with yoga, which is let go of the tension and the gripping. Now, that said, you get what you pay for. I'm telling you, a $20 mat rarely is sticky. Usually it's slipperier than not using a mat at all. So don't go find some cheap yoga mat. It's not going to help you. You're just going to waste your money. But what you can do for our challenge is just do bare feet on a low pile rug or a hardwood floor. Tile can work in a pinch as well. And just test it, right? You just take your feet apart and see how you feel. I actually have relatively low piles, like mid, and I do pretty well with my feet apart. Better definitely than a $20 yoga mat. Okay, you get what you pay for. The mat I definitely recommend is actually the Manduka mat. That's my black mat right here, and it's $125. And I know it's a hefty one. However, you will never buy another yoga mat, and I have gone through many yoga mats where I literally use them until they begin to tear. So again, don't invest until you need to. Just do bare feet. Or you can also ask a friend. I'm guessing you have a friend who has one sitting around that they're not using. Okay, next thing I recommend is something firm to sit on. Now, as far as yoga props go, that comes as a blanket. And we usually do one of two blankets, either these cotton Mexican woven blankets, which are perfect when they're cotton because they're very firm. Again, you want something firm you can sit on. They also come in polyester, but the polyester ones squish, and you want something that's firmer than that. Also, these army wool blankets are spectacular, and they often can be found in thrift stores, secondhand stores for really inexpensive. However, they do tend to be a little scratchy. Now, I will say that these are easily substituted with a firm cushion. I find that the cushions off of my couch, actually the decorator pillows, are really fantastic. I can use those in a pinch. You can use a picnic blanket. Picnic blankets tend to be really firm. Also, a towel, like a big sheet towel or bath towel, you can fold it up and it tends to be firm enough, maybe 2 or 3. You can play with it as we go along and see. Ultimately, if you're going to be studying with me and you want to do restorative yoga, which I do a lot of, you'll want two to 3 of these firm blankets. Now, the next thing I recommend is a block, and I do give options in our challenge videos for a block, because if you don't have one, it's not something I want you to buy yet. Again, you can substitute with a footstool, a chair in a pinch, because we take our hand down to it for standing poses, so a chair could work. A firm box can also work as well, so pretty easy to substitute this. Ultimately, when you're ready, I definitely recommend a yoga block. There are reasons going forward that you understand why a yoga block is particularly good. It's just the right size, the right firmness, etc. And when you're ready, get 2. It's really nice to have 2 on hand. Finally, we have a strap. Strap, obviously super easy to substitute. Bathrobe belts are perfect to substitute for this. However, going forward, it's nice to have a buckle, and I recommend a D-ring buckle because sometimes we make a loop for something that we're working on. We will not in the challenge, so don't worry, you don't need to have this at all, but just going forward, this is something you might want to consider, and an 8-foot belt is perfect. If you're average height, if you're like 6 feet or higher, taller, 10 foot would be good. 6 feet is just not enough. So they usually come in 6, 8, and 10. All right, so 8 to 10 feet. So that's it for the props. And again, nothing before the challenge. Have I made myself clear on that? We will figure it out, and then if you're ready to take the next step and invest, I will have some recommendations for you.